Today, we got a ton of brand spankin' new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie Weekly update that has just been released. And guys, it's a big one today. Firstly, we got information about how faction rallies are changing in a huge way, and the brand new rewards associated with the next faction rally event. Also, it was revealed that the Year 2 reveal is coming very, very soon, and we're going to go over the information revolved around that. Guys, stay tuned and let's get started. What is up, guys? Rickcacus here, and just got finished making an Anthem update. If you're an Anthem fan, stay tuned to the channel for that. But then Bungie released this bomb of a weekly update. We've got some huge stuff contained within, so let's just jump right into this with the Year 2 reveal. That's right, Destiny 2 Year 2 is coming somewhat soon. We knew this from the updated development roadmap. They no longer referred to September as Season 4, they referred to it as Year 2, Season 1. Well, there's actually going to be a reveal as seen by this brand new image, Tuesday, June 5th. So next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Bungie, they are going to have a full live stream revealing what Year 2 is going to bring to some extent. And this is a brand new promotional image to represent that. This looks very much to me like a reef themed area. This to me is screaming reef. We've had some kind of rumors in the past that potentially the Destiny 2 expansion 3 would feature the reef in some way, and this is definitely lending some credence to that. So I'm very excited for that. Definitely on June 5th, expect a full coverage of this reveal on this channel. And you know, it's very interesting that we're getting this somewhat early, and notice the timing. A June 5th reveal does mean that that's just before E3, so potentially we're going to have some more Year 2 content revealed or a Year 2 trailer at E3, and that's actually really exciting because before this weekly update there wasn't really a ton of proof per se that Bungie would be revealing this stuff this early, but now things have changed. Now, one more thing about this reveal, Bungie does mention that they're going to kick off the show with a look at the new development roadmap. So we're going to get an updated roadmap likely on June 5th, and Bungie is going to talk about that as part of the reveal, which is exciting because of course the roadmap is content available to all players, not just DLC purchasers, which is a great thing. Alright, now moving on from there, we have the return of faction rallies with some pretty radical changes. Firstly, Bungie is saying that pledging to a faction should be a meaningful choice. So, firstly, players may now only pledge to one faction per account during a faction rallies event. So when faction rallies comes along, if you want to pledge to Dead Orbit, you cannot pledge to Dead Orbit with your Hunter and then pledge to Future War Cult with your Titan. You pledge to Dead Orbit and that is it. That's certainly a meaningful choice, and it's going to make people think a lot more about who they pledge to. After that, reputation progress is retained through multiple events, and it will not be reset during the season, even if a player changes allegiance. Very interesting. Also, each faction offers unique rewards, such as exotic armor ornaments or masterwork catalysts for exotic weapons, and they revealed which catalyst is going to be locked behind each faction. There's some pretty big ones. And lastly, we are planning to host 3 faction rallies events over the course of Season 3. So essentially 3 chances to pledge to each of the 3 different factions, level them up, and collect the proper loot. Moving on from there, there's going to be seasonal vendor progression for the different factions. Each faction now features ranks which players can reach by earning faction tokens, very similar to the Iron Banner and other vendor seasonal rankings. After that, faction rank up rewards will continue to grant legendary armor and weapons past rank 30, so there's no longer a cap. So, what rewards will these vendors feature? Well, Bungie actually showed that for all of the different factions. So let's start out here with Dead Orbit. As you can see over to the right hand corner, there's some important stuff going on. Firstly, you can get the exotic ornament for the Eye of Another World, looks pretty sweet, but also you can get the catalyst for the Masterwork Graviton Lance. I don't know if you guys have played PvP in the last few weeks, but the Graviton Lance is used, if I may be so bold, slightly above average, you could say. So that's a huge feature. We also have a hand cannon, it looks like, and a snipe rifle, as well as a bunch of different ornaments for all of the different classes. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pledging to Dead Orbit and I'm getting that catalyst. That's huge. Moving on from there, we have New Monarchy. This is going to feature an exotic ornament for the crest of the Alpha Lupi chest piece and the Sweet Business exotic catalyst. So Sweet Business is certainly a weapon that got a huge buff recently, and although it's not as good in PvP, in PvE it's actually quite deadly, so that's another pretty big feature. We also have what seems to be a SMG and a pulse rifle on offer, as well as a bunch of ornaments, an emblem, and so on. Lastly, we have Future War Cult. The exotic ornament is for the Knucklehead radar, and then the catalyst is for the Sunshot. So all three of these weapons, Graviton Lance, then the Sweet Business, and then the Sunshot, these are all weapons that do see play. These are not like terrible exotic weapons by any means. The Sunshot and the Sweet Business, definitely more for PvE, and then of course the Graviton Lance for PvP. We also have a rocket launcher and what looks to be a pulse rifle on offer, as well as a Sparrow actually, and then we have a bunch of different ornaments. So these are some legitimate rewards. The catalysts especially are going to make you really think about your choice of pledging to a certain faction and stick with that faction until you unlock them. And these are three pretty good catalysts on offer. So this is going to be some really interesting faction rallies. Now another big change is the introduction of the renown system when it comes to leveling up your different factions. So faction rallies now feature the renown system. After pledging to a faction, players may earn renown by completing a public event or patrol, or by defeating high-value targets on destinations. Then, players who loot a lost sector with renown active will receive significantly more faction tokens than usual. The more stacks of renown they have, the more faction tokens they earn. But renown is lost when players are defeated by enemies, so be careful when you're attempting to loot a lost sector with high renown. So that's really sweet. So additionally, renown increases the level of challenge in gameplay. Health regeneration is vastly reduced, all stack levels, and enemy kills have a chance to drop health orbs with all stack levels. So player damage is decreased, scales with stack up to 5, and incoming damage increased scales with stack up to 5. So that's quite interesting. So essentially you go out into the public spaces on whatever world you want to go to, let's say it's the EDZ, and you kill a public event boss, and then you go and you kill a high value target, and then you're going to get 2 stacks of renown for killing those 2 enemies. Then if you go into the lost sector and loot it, you're going to get way more tokens than if you just would have gone in and looted it with only 1 stack or no stacks. But then there's a balancing act, because the more renown you have, the easier you are to kill, and it resets when you die. So obviously you want to be able to go and kill like a bunch of high value targets and then start looting lost sectors, but if you do that, you're vastly more likely to get killed and reset your renown. So that's actually a pretty cool system. I think you can still just ignore this renown thing and go and loot a bunch of lost sectors and so on, and just get tokens just from farming that, or potentially just killing, 1 or 2 enemies and then having enough renown to go in and start still looting lost sectors. It's going to be quite the balancing act, and that is quite a big change. Now, when you have renown active, so when you do kill a boss and you start to get stacks of renown, this is what it's going to look like. You're actually going to display to everyone around you which faction you are pledged to, and that is really, really sweet. So, when are all of these changes being added? Well, the next faction rally is going to launch on Tuesday, June 5th at 10 a.m. Pacific, same day as the reveal. The reveal is an hour before for year 2. And the prize weapons on offer, because there are still going to be prize weapons, are these 3 weapons. There's going to be a shotgun from Dead Orbit, then there's going to be a New Monarchy rocket launcher, and a Future War Cult sidearm. Moving on from there, Bungie talked a little bit about Crucible Labs. It's essentially an area where Bungie wants to test new game modes. Now, this confused a lot of players because a lot of people thought it was kind of a test server to test new features and new balance changes. Bungie has come out and said, no, that's not the case. It's just about new game modes. Frankly, they should have done that a lot earlier. When Crucible Labs were first revealed, a lot of people were speculating about this, and Bungie just remained silent. They only spoke up a few days before it launched, and I think that's the wrong approach. They should have come out right away and said, no, we're going to clear things up. This is what it's all about. But I digress. Essentially, what they're testing now is double doubles, aka Showdown, in the Crucible Labs, and they want to know, what did you think about this mode? Was it confusing? Did anything seem missing? All of that stuff. They really want you to go into the feedback forums and play this mode and give your feedback on it. Moving on from there, we actually got a pretty big change to Escalation Protocol. If you're someone watching who's having trouble with Escalation Protocol, well, you're in luck. So, Bungie has realized that a lot of teams kind of falter and fail at around wave 6 or 7. And that's because the power level of the enemies goes all the way up to 400. So they're actually going to make a change to this. So here are the old values and the new values. As you can see, wave 4 and 5 are going down to 380 from 385, and wave 6 and 7 are going way down from 400 to 385. So this is a pretty big change, and Bungie says that this is going live as soon as this weekly update goes live. So if you're hearing these words, this apparently is live. And, this change, as someone who is starting to beat Escalation Protocol with some regularity, if you have a pretty hardcore 9-person group, it's not that difficult. But of course, Bungie was confused about what Escalation Protocol means. In the past weekly update, they literally said within a couple sentences of each other that Escalation Protocol is meant to help people get to the max level, and then they say that Escalation Protocol is an activity meant for max level players. Well, what is it? That doesn't make any sense. So this change is more indicative of something that, if you're not quite max level, you can start to accomplish and gain that maximum power level. It's also going to mean that you have much less of a reliance on those 9-man fire teams, so a 6-man fire team is much more likely to succeed with these changes. And that's great because getting 9 people together was kind of a pain in the butt and very inaccessible for a lot of players. Alright guys, and that is really it for the main points of information within this weekly update. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCactus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.